Hi, and welcome back to the review of Unit 2, Hanbok Rao. So in the preview I mentioned that there was a performer at the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics who was wearing a hanbok. And China said that this was not cultural appropriation, it was just respecting the multiple cultures or ethnicities that are living in China.
Cultural appropriation.
Cultural appropriation. Korean culture or Korean ethnic people are a large group in those people, among them. But Korea doesn't buy this explanation, especially because recently there have been a lot of people in China, a lot of netizens who have been claiming that the hanbok, the Korean traditional dress, is actually just kind of a copy of traditional Chinese dress. And there's also been controversy surrounding kimchi and who invented it, and China has kind of been claiming that it's just a variation of our Chinese pickled vegetables.
Yeah.
And so the implication that China is kind of giving off is that China was the creator of all culture in East Asia. And it all originated from China, and Korea, Japan, other countries are just imitating.
Implication.
Implication, which obviously doesn't sit well with people outside of China.
Right.
And this kind of growing nationalistic kind of flair in China is really unpopular in Korea, especially. The other elephant in the room is that China doesn't have a great record in its treatment of its ethnic minorities.
Nationalistic.
Nationalistic. Elephant in the room.
Elephant in the room.
So showcasing them in the opening ceremony is just a way to kind of portray themselves as being really friendly to ethnic minorities when, especially with the Xinjiang region, there's lots of really bad stories and bad things coming out of that region. So China's kind of whitewashing the things that it's doing to its ethnic minorities and trying to make a positive image. So going back to kind of the nationalism, do you think that nationalism is wrong? And what's the difference between nationalism and patriotism?
That's a tricky question.
It is.
As an American, I should answer carefully. Because there is a rise of nationalism among Americans and many other countries and citizens. But I think the major big difference between nationalism and patriotism is both are pride in your nation, your country.
True.
But nationalism takes it to where you see yourself as superior than your neighbor or your other countries.
Right.
And that idea of being superior really hints at other, more negative things. Albeit whether it's racism or looking at other ethnic things of, illogical reasons, or just deep-seated hatred or divisiveness in history, anything.
Right.
So that's the negative thing of nationalism, and I do ultimately think it is more negative than patriotism. You can be very proud in your country, you can, stand up for it and debate about it and be very proudful of it. And that's what I like about the Olympics is the few times I've seen it, and I went to Pyeongchang Olympics here, and I saw fans from many countries being very patriotic, but still friendly. They weren't cursing at the other country people or saying something rude, but clearly being very patriotic. And I think that's that fine line that some people just don't know how to, operate in or something.
True.
And it seems like these Chinese netizens or trolls are trying to do it really against Korea and get them riled up. What do you think?
I completely agree. So yeah, nationalism, America first is nationalism.
Yeah.
So it's not only thinking that you're better than other countries, but kind of thinking of your own benefit and the benefit of your country above all of the other countries. So not working for mutual benefit, which is, I think, certainly possible, but really putting yourself first.
Right.
And I think, the difference between nationalism and patriotism is that nationalism is anytime it runs into a negative direction.
Right.
So patriotism is a positive love for your country, and nationalism is whenever it's creating problems for everybody else,
right.
or creating those kind of racist situations where white America first or something like that,
right.
Is kind of the negative side of nationalism. And so I think, by definition, nationalism is bad.
Yes.
I think it's the word itself has negative connotations. So it's without any debate. Nationalism is bad because that's the kind of the definition of the word.
True.
Patriotism, loving your country and being proud of its culture and language and the people and all of that, I think is perfectly fine. But when it gets into the nationalism, it can be a problem.
Yes.
So on that note, that is all for the review of Unit 2, Hanbok Rao. We'll see you in the next video.